Morning bean roasting time! Hey, so we're gonna do some roasting today. Here we have some Calgary Heritage Roasting Company green beans that we're gonna roast. I've tried this before, didn't go so well.
Keep going here until I don't hear any more. Open the door. Live and learn. I think that's about where we're gonna leave it. Different pan. Just let it stop heating up on this incredibly hot cast iron.
First attempt, roast amount of coffee.
Yeah, it burned those pretty bad. So this time, on the advice of the Calgary Heritage Roasting Company, they said, why don't you try an oven roast? And I said, well, that sounds a lot easier. And they said, oh, it is. But I thought, let's not just do green coffee beans, let's do cocoa beans as well. Because I've heard people say that roasted cocoa beans, when you use them instead of coffee grounds as a drip drink in the morning, actually is a pretty good coffee alternative. So I thought, let's give them both a try. So I've got my pan set with the little holes punched through. Got my handful or so of cacao beans, cocoa beans, either way, and then my handful or so of green coffee beans. And we're gonna roast the green coffee beans first. Now these go into the oven at a very high temperature, around 500 degrees, and every 2 minutes or so you pop that oven open, give them a little shake and a stir, get them moving around. And you can see we go right from the green beans to a light brown, to a medium brown, to a dark brown, pretty darn quick, but it did roast much easier than that old stovetop method on the cast iron that I tried before and failed miserably at before. Here you can hear that crack coming through. Sounds a little bit like popcorn. I don't know, I think I went past first crack, so these are a little darker than I expected them to be, but they do look beautiful and they sound wonderful and they smell amazing. So we're just gonna pour those into this glass container here and give them about 3 hours to off gas. So basically just let them rest and let some CO2 out. And then we're going to pop those cacao beans into the oven. Now this is a way different roasting procedure. It's a low temperature for longer time. And in the end, you're left with beans that look exactly like the unroasted ones. Honestly, here in my hand is an unroasted bean, and here is a roasted one. And you know what? I'm hard pressed to tell the difference, to be honest. But they smell wonderful, so we're gonna follow suit with the coffee beans and let these degas. I don't know if they need to, but we'll give them a little time just to cool down in the jar. Let them breathe a little bit. So 3 hours later, it's time to grind. I've got these coffee beans going into the grinder, and we're just gonna set them to about a medium grind. What we're doing here, instead of going through the coffee maker, is I've got some mason jars with some coffee filters in them. So we're going to do a pour over method. Just allows us to see what's going on a little easier and kind of watch as the brew happens. Next, we're gonna put the cocoa beans into the grinder. Now somebody said, don't do that, you're going to melt those cocoa beans. I didn't melt them. I think because we just did a quick pulse, it didn't go long enough to create enough heat to melt them. I also didn't shuck the coffee or the cocoa beans here, so the shells got ground up. I figure they're just using pour over, so it doesn't really matter if there's some shell in there. So we've got the hot water, and that's being poured over just like a pour over coffee, maybe a little messier. And I know I'm not measuring the temperature of the hot water, so for an optimal coffee experience, I really should have my water at a set temperature. I'm not that fancy. Now you'll notice that the water is going through this very, very slowly. This footage is sped up quite a bit, and it's just slow drips. In comparison, we start doing the pour over the coffee. It looks like we have a little bit, I maybe should have let it off gas a little longer, but look how much quicker the water is draining through on the coffee. Night and day, really. We've got one that's working and one that's really struggling. So every time we add a little bit of water in there, it just sits for quite a while. So, you know, if you do it this method, you're gonna spend a lot more time brewing your coffee replacement out of the cocoa beans, cacao beans. I don't know which one's right. Now in the end, I tried to stir it up a little bit and I ended up punching straight through the filter and all of the grounds ended up in the liquid. Aren't I talented? So what I did is grab a metal strainer and we just poured it through there just to get rid of the big chunks. You can see even here, once you get down to the sludge level, it takes a long time for that liquid to pour through. On the coffee side, however, everything went exactly to plan. The coffee went through nice and smooth, I didn't rip the filter, and we've got ourselves a lovely little cup of coffee here. And I gotta tell you right now, the kitchen smelled amazing. Roasted coffee, roasted chocolate, it smelled wonderful. Now if you look at the two side by side here, you'll see there's like some suspended fats in the cocoa, but the coffee looks nice and clean. All right, so we've got our roasted cacao, cocoa, chocolate. This is our coffee replacement attempt. Now, it took a lot longer for the water to go through the grounds. Ended up ripping right through the paper filter, so we ended up having to use a metal filter to re-sift it through. I don't know if you can pick this up on the camera or not, but it's leaving a bit of residue around the edge of the glass where I think we still got some particulate in the substrate. I probably said that wrong. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy doing reviews. Anyways, so we've got our cup of hot chocolate. I think we're all ready to go for that. Mind if I sit here? Cheers. All right. And so over here, I'm going to be reviewing the Calgary Heritage Roasting Company. Their green beans. These are the Guatemalan milk chocolate, caramel, and cherry, medium. It's time you tasted a coffee as wild as you are. The roasting process went really well, especially compared to last time. It brewed like a normal cup of coffee, smells like a normal cup of coffee. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, that's a nice cup of coffee. It's got a little bit of a smoky quality. I think I may have actually taken these past first crack, almost to second crack, so this is a darker. I'm usually a medium roast guy. So this is a little darker than normal, but really tasty. Oh, yeah, I could drink that all morning. No, that's a really nice cup of coffee. And you know, it's fun. You get to experience roasting it yourself at home. You get to play with the levels of roast that you want, lighter, darker. Do you want to go all the way to like a French roast? You can do that, or you can just do a nice light roast. Produce a pretty nice cup of coffee in the morning. Just gonna give this a try. Smells like red wine and chocolate, but no sugar in it. This is just the beans. Okay, it doesn't taste like chocolate. If you got this, you'd be like, that's a kind of a weak, sour chocolate-y coffee. Would it work as a coffee replacement? You know, it might. It's definitely, you're not gonna mistake it. You're not gonna take a sip and go, oh, that's good coffee. But, you know, it's got antioxidants and all the other good stuff they say with dark chocolate in there. It's creamy, bitter, sour, a little bit sour. Interesting mouthfeel. There is a bit of that creaminess there. All right, so in the end, organic cocoa beans, cacao beans, whatever, purchased from Amazon, makes a lovely drink. It'll take some getting used to, but could be your coffee replacement in the morning. But hey, we're not trying to sell you anything. We're just telling you our review. We're reviewing McReviewface, and we'll see you next review. Cheers.